Harambe YouTube, it is Huntler here, and it's time for another action figure unboxing. Today we have one brand new, just came out yesterday at the time of recording. I think by posting time it'll be a week and a day ago, so this is fresh off the Hasbro presses. This is the new Snake Eyes Dawn Moreno action figure. She is the third Snake Eyes, I believe, and is currently in at the center of a major arc in the Image/Skybound G.I. Joe Real American Heroes series right now. So very excited about this. Great time this coming out. It's a great looking action figure, and for me personally, the first time I heard of her was when I started reading the G.I. Joe Real American Heroes series. She was a big part of the big Battle of Springfield edition. Her parents were Cobra. She had snuck into Springfield to spy on the Cobra facility, and upon returning to the G.I. Joes, her parents were found out and were murdered by troopers of Cobra. And during the midst of the battle for Springfield, she had a moment where she was forced to choose between getting vengeance and doing what was right. And so she was at the very emotional heart of the very first Image/Skybound G.I. Joe arc, and a very important part of the story as of right now. So let's get her open. The way I do these things is we do a 3A process where I talk about appearance, articulation, and accessories, so that we have a baseline to draw from. Take a look at the packaging here before we get her open. We have a little bit of a nice window here. You can see the accessories. It has G.I. Joe on the top there, her name, G.I. Joe Classified. I like this very small, sleek packaging. It saves a lot of material, and it's just a very cool look, feel. And if you are one who wants to save the boxes, it's not going to take up a lot of storage space. Or even if you want to collect it mint on card, this will sit very nicely on a shelf and not take up any space. But I'm not a mint on card collector, so let's get it open. There we go. And as far as I can tell, I do not believe this comes with a stand. Let's see here. Is there a stand in the box? Nope. No stand. Now I notice with the retro card figures, they usually come with a stand. But I have plenty of stands, so I'm not too worried about that. Again, getting out the last accessory here. Here we go. Everything out in the box. Let's take a look at it, starting with appearance. It's a very good looking action figure. Great looking face details. Looks a lot like the character you see in the comic books. I have no other frame of reference as far as brightness goes. I love the Snake Eyes aesthetic with the bodysuit close to the body there, not your regular baggy military garb. We have the black with red accents, very deep dark red. Big fan of that, and it's not a lot of bulkiness. We have a little belt here, we have a holster here on the right leg, but really not a lot of bulky parts that are going to get in the way. And check out this hair, very detailed there, and you can see the different strands hanging out the braids, and so on and so forth. A lot of great detail went into the hair. And we have musculature there, bigger than average for a female, but not masculine. Very cool looking figure. Going down to the boots, we have these boots here with what almost look like wrestling kick pads and knee pads. very practical if you're going to be sneaking around or taking, to the battlefield. So yeah, as far as appearance goes, it gets a nice solid A. It is good looking action figure in my estimation. And then we have the alternate head, which is kind of a ninja mask, the classic Snake Eyes look, with a whole different hairstyle. The hair is a little bit longer and it flows out the back. It's not tied up. Let's switch out these heads before we move on to articulation. See how easy that switch is. Very easy. And I really like the look with the ninja mask and the long flowing hair. Both are very strong looks. Alright, so let's move on to articulation, starting with the head that I just exchanged here. And when I took the head off, I noticed one thing I've been seeing a lot here is that we have double articulation on the neck. What I mean by that is, let's take the head off here. We have the neck joint where the head connects on the top here. You see that? That swivels all the way around. And then on the bottom of the neck, we have another swivel. And so you get extra dynamic head movement that adds a lot of realism to your posing. And so I like that we have that dual, that top and that bottom articulation on the neck going down to the shoulders. We have the arms that go all the way around. There's a cut on the bicep for horizontal left to right movement. Double jointed pinless arms. And the hands go all the way around. And then, we have on the gun hand. Actually, let's see if it's on both hands. Yeah, it is on both hands. If you're an older collector from a few years ago, you would know that most hands have this left to right movement. But with G.I. Joe, what they started doing is incorporating up and down movement so that when you have them posing with a gun, you can have more realistic look at the eye level. So the hand goes up and down as opposed to in and out. I am a big fan of that articulation. And then as far as, let's take a look, see if we have, okay, we do have, okay, it is in there. So there's an extra articulation. I missed this on my last review. I did a review of the Beachhead action figure. But if you're a collector, you know that most of them come with the butterfly cutout in the shoulder. So you have an extra back and forth movement of that shoulder, which is nice. But here, it's covered up by the top, by this clothing here. So you really can't see the butterfly cut. But trust me, it is there. You will feel it in the movement once you get it in your hands. And it's not the least bit inhibited either by the clothing here. So get my glasses. The torso is a swivel mid-torso with great mobility. And then on the hips, we have a pretty good left to right motion on the hips. I think you probably get the swivel all the way around, which is something I haven't seen a lot in G.I. Joe. Going down to the legs, we have a ball joint, and then we have a cut on the thigh for left to right movement. And then we have pinless, double jointed knees that are a little bit stiff coming out the box. And if you have a knee that is very stiff, do not force it, because that's an easy way to waste $20. You can either do what a lot of people do, is either boil them, or I have my laptop right here. When I'm playing a game or whatever on my laptop, I will set it right next to a cooling vent. It's just enough heat to get that plastic softened up enough to where you can safely move that joint. And it'll take almost no time. And then we have a cut on the calf. Now, you'll notice that the calf cut for left to right movement is a lot higher than usual. Usually it'll be mid-calf, but it's up higher, almost, right next to that double jointed pinless knee. Now, usually you would think I would complain about that, but I'm not, because one of my favorite things is when I see articulation that fits with the appearance. here we have the boot, and we have that kick pad that I mentioned. And what a lot of people do is they put the cap cut on the kick pad, which would create an unnecessary line. But here they put it right above to where, yeah, it's going to be a little bit higher, but we don't have an unnecessary line, and they're going out of their way to really alleviate a lot of those lines with the pinless look here on all of the joints. They do a great job at hiding those joints, and so I give them credit for that. Going down to the ankle, goes all the way around. Great back and forth motion. So articulation, this gets a very rare A+ from me. So right now we're working with a solid A grade on this action figure. Let's go to accessories. So we talked about probably one of the most notable accessories, that being the bonus head, which I am a big fan of. And then next we have this cool dual sheath, and it looks like it attaches on the backpack, so she does not come with a backpack but a sheath for swords, which makes sense because she is a ninja. I believe that the Snake Eye is part of the Oroshikage, or is that just the Storm Shadow and Jinx? I think Snake Eyes is part of the Oroshikage. And so, yeah, that fits right in there. That sheath is real snug. Almost looks like it's tied into the action figure. I like that. And then we have the sidearm with a silencer. Pops on there. And then the sheath, we notice here on the right leg, the gun goes right here, and then we have a compartment in front. It looks like for the silencer to be stored separately. So that is very cool, very functional. And then we have some kind of machine gun. Maybe is this a Uzi or something? I am not the firearms expert, so I wouldn't know, but I dig it. This is a magazine. No, magazine doesn't come out, which is a good thing. I don't like loose, small pieces. And so I am a big fan of the accessories, so I'm giving that an A as well. So yeah, we got all around an A+ for the look, A for the A+ for the articulation, A for the accessories. Overall, if you are a big fan of G.I. Joe, especially the modern era in G.I. Joe, all Real American Hero comic book series, this is a must-have in your collection. I got mine at Walmart.com. You can get them also directly from Hasbro, Hasbro Plus. Hasbro Pulse, Hasbro.com, and other retailers as well. I got mine for about the $27 price range, which is higher than I usually like to pay, but nowadays most action figures are starting off at that $25 to $27 price range. But I'm sure that if you give it half a year, that price point will drop as these get out into the world. So you can go ahead and wait for it. I paid for what I call the, immediate tax. I literally got the day after it came out in stores. So that's what I paid being a little bit extra for it. But I really dig it. I'm glad to have it in my collection. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you enjoy the content and want to contribute to the growth of the channel, you can buy me a coffee using the link on the screen right now. But most importantly, watching, liking, subscribing, maybe even sharing, commenting is more than enough. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep buying them action figures. You know I will. I'm out.